hard water or white film that's actually in your water isn't just inconvenient. It's causing huge damage to your home, your appliances, and maybe even your health. Finding the right water softener for that hard water situation can feel overwhelming, but you need to find the right system to be able to protect the investment you have in your home and in your family. If you choose the wrong water softener system, it can cause you frustration, it can cause you dry, itchy skin, it can cause damage to your home. So today, I'm going to guide you through the best water softener on the market today. This video is really for those people who have really hard water. I'm going to call that anything over 15 grains hard. We have clients that go from 15 to 100 grains of hardness. Now that's just off the chart hard. It's water that's like literally, it causes so many difficulties. So when we're dealing with over 15 grain hard water, you will have white dishes. I mean, your silverware looks bad. The shower stall looks bad. When you look at the tile in your bathroom, you're gonna see white film all over that. So you know when you have over 15 grain hard water because it's very, very difficult. Most of the time, this is for people that are on private wells. That's like, I don't know, 23 million Americans or so live on a private well, and they wrestle with well water issues that we're talking about today. So the water softener we're going to talk about today is a water softener only. And on the market, there's a variety of different products on the market. Now, with that, I'm going to give you the top couple systems that I sort of find out in the marketplace for well water systems. Now, if your water's extra hard, we want to be able to take a look at it and say to yourselves, all right, why do I need a water softener? Some people think it's orange staining. And yes, orange staining is iron in the water with the rock. So if you have rock and iron together, that's a good water softener will take out both of those. Some people just deal with the white film. So you have to ask yourself, what are you wrestling with? If you're wrestling with iron and rock over here, then certainly you want to get a special type of water softener that would have basically a stratified resin bed. If, however, you're only dealing with white film, a standard water softener can work very well, and you want to be able to understand what are the pros and cons of that. So we're going to dive into both of those today. So let's just take the biggest thing that we deal with on a regular basis where people are saying, I've got white film and I have orange staining. Two separate things. Again, calcium and iron. Iron can be in a couple different forms, but a very good water softener that does both has what's called stratified resin. It's basically saying that we have 10% cross-link resin. That means that this filter material here, this resin, is actually a higher grade of resin that actually can capture the iron particles out of the water. Now you have to remember that the iron particles actually are oxidized, and so we need something that sort of like bite at the water to pull that iron off the water droplet. That's really important to understand. It's sort of like biting at it. And so when you do that, standard water softeners can do that. Usually you need to have at least a 48,000 grain water softener to do that, and you'd like to get stratified resin bed. Now the problem, as you can see here, is that you're going to have if that iron is oxidized, it's going to land on the very top and slowly penetrate all the way through. Now standard water softeners, they're going to regenerate, and normally you have to program these to go off every couple days, so it backwashes, which means lift that filter material up and flush that iron up and down the drain and get it out of the house. Now when you put a standard water softener like that through its regeneration, what's happening? It's going to go through 10 pounds of salt or so every single time it regenerates, and it may not be needed because the calcium level isn't the same as the iron level. So what happens is that in most cases with standard water softeners, you end up using a lot more salt. Now that might be okay for you out there if this is a water softener that you're buying and you're going to live in the home for a year or two or a couple years. Then you may be okay with a standard water softener and you plow through extra salt. However, if you want to be able to get more out of a water softener, a stratified water softener with exact salt dosing will save you a ton in salt and a lot less headaches. That's basically this ECR unit here. You can see it's got a gray band around it. And EcoWater manufactures this. And what makes their patented product extra good is the fact that it's got stratified resin and it's got exact salt dosing, and we can program that for how much iron you have. In our market, a lot of people have 2 parts per million of iron. So what do? We go into this computer, we program it for 2 parts per million of iron, and now that unit knows, hey, I want to regenerate every couple days. But the key here is, because of the exact salt dosing, will dose only maybe 2 or 3 pounds of salt compared to a standard water softener, which is doing 10 pounds of salt. So you can see there's a gigantic difference between the technology between the two. Maybe both. You have to, by the way, you have to ask the vendor, are they using stratified 10% cross-link resin made in America? So these sticker companies that are out there, including us, you'd want to make sure that you have something like that. Or you know that if you're buying a product from Warren Buffett and the Marmon Group at EcoWater, that you'd actually have that in this type of a system. So that's a very valuable aspect, because now it's going to go through its cleaning cycle every couple days for the iron, but only using a couple pounds of salt. The other advantage here is that you actually get a Wi-Fi feature, so you can look at your phone and you're going to see how many gallons of water you're using. If the water is running constantly, it will alert you for it. Why is that important? Okay, pro tip. The number one reason behind the person running out of salt or the unit being unplugged, the number one reason why water softeners stop working, are you ready for this? It's because you have a leaky toilet. On a well water, you don't get a water bill. So nobody's sitting there telling you, you're not getting this increased bill going, oh my God, what's going on? Let me go check your toilets, my toilets, to make sure they're not leaking. They leak. Now here's the beautiful thing about it, is that Wi-Fi on this unit would tell you that if a toilet's leaking. Now, I know everyone says, well, I'd be able to tell because I could hear it. No, you can't. I can't tell you how many times I had clients call me up and yell and scream, and I go out there and I bring food coloring, put it in the back of the toilet, and I can see that the rubber flapper on the bottom of the water, the toilet in the reservoir isn't sealing properly. So, or the water level is so high, it's going over the overflow that's inside that toilet. There's a 1-inch overflow inside of every toilet. So that's the beautiful thing about that product, is it's able to tell you how many gallons are you using on a regular basis. And if you look at it 1 week or 1 month and you're like, oh, my family of 4 is using about 130 gallons of water a day, that's about average, 50 gallons to 75 gallons per person per day. You look at that and you're like, this is great, but if next week it's double that number, you know, that's a good warning for you to go check and see exactly what's going on. It can be a leaky toilet. So pro tip, that makes this product even more valuable. Now, it costs more. So you have to make that decision. Again, if you're going to be living in the home for a year or two, you may choose a cross-link, 10% cross-link sticker company product. Or if you want something of a little bit more value, and by the way, we found that when a homeowner on a private well highlights and leaves a brochure behind on this product, any person buying a house on a well, their fear starts to go down when they have a great brochure on a great product like that. Because anytime someone comes in to buy a house on a well, the customer's always like, oh no, it's a well, I don't know what that's going to be like. Well, when they call us at that number and we answer the phone, we're like, hey, oh my God, your client, that homeowner bought the best system on the planet when it came to well water. So don't be worried about owning a house on a private well. You've got one of the best systems on the market today. So that creates a value, sort of like granite countertops, right? If you're going to have a granite countertop, people go, oh, that house is worth more money. Same thing today. People are recognizing that their health is very valuable, and so having a high quality NSF 44 certified system is going to be really great for resale value, as long as you, the homeowner, highlights that with a brochure or puts it in the listing. Now, that said, you have a couple different options on that for well water with iron in the water. we're going to now switch over to just well water without any iron. But before I switch over, please remember to press like, subscribe, share this with your friends and family. Anyone that lives on a private well, they're going to love this. They're going to be so grateful that you shared it with them, and so will we. That said, now let's talk about water softeners that don't have iron. Now, when you go online, you can find a ton of different water softeners, and we want to make sure that you understand that there's basically only 3 categories of water softeners out there. There's big box, there's sticker companies, and there's professional grade. Now, when we're talking about big box, we're going to take a peek over here behind this sticker product, and we're going to take a look at this Water Boss and GE system. Now, those are going to be found like at a Home Depot or big box store. The problem with those is that they fill the resin tank, that's this vessel like right here, all the way to the top. And the problem with doing that on a well water situation is there's a lot of particles in the water. You got to remember, you drilled a hole in the ground, there's an aquifer under the ground, which is basically bedrock, and you're drawing that water up and you're pushing that into the home. And so there's a lot of stuff down there too. Remember, that aquifer could have decomposing plants, decomposing animal life. So there's this stuff that comes up with the water and you just can't see it because it's actually attached to the water droplet. So when you need to have a system that actually has enough what's called head on here so that what we can do is when it goes through its cleaning cycle, we're lifting that filter material up and letting go of all the particles it's captured. Now, that's why those systems are really not designed for over 15 grain hard water. Yes, they say they go up to 100 grains, but come on now, really? If you have a house, maybe if you have a small condo or it's just one person in the home, that might work okay for you. It's a great introductory price for you because they usually run, I don't know, around $1,000, plus you have to pay $1,000 to have a plumber install it. But to me, when they only have a 1-year or 2-year warranty, we're paid to basically nurse it along until it gets to the end of its warranty, and then you have basically a boat anchor in your basement. Why? Because it's got 200 pounds of salt or 100 pounds of salt in there, plus the unit itself, which is 100 pounds. It's 200 pounds sitting in the basement, and nobody wants to lug that outside, not including me. I'm telling you, not even 20 years ago, when I was 20 years younger, did I want to lug that out of your house. So the next step up from that is going to be the sticker companies. That's like any guy who can chuck in the truck. They can go ahead and buy a water softener from a distributor or what's called an OEM, original equipment manufacturer. They're not really a manufacturer, it's just a distributor. It's a fancy word of saying that they take the valve, they take a tank, they add the resin, they screw the valve on, and they sell it to Chuck in the truck. Chuck in the truck slaps his sticker on it, no different than what we did, and sell it to you. Now, 15 years ago, all this stuff was made in America. 15 years ago, the technology was all the same. Fleck, Autotro, Clack came out, was a little bit better, but basically they're all the same. Today, these companies, the OEMs, are trying to keep the cost down. So guess where they buy the vessel? Guess where they buy the resin? Guess where the control valve is made? China. And what do we find with Chinese products? Is that they don't last very long. Now, again, if you're going to be in a situation where it might be a year or two, sure, that might work. This is the culprit, right? Not the culprit. This is the key. That golden resin not only looks like gold, it is the most expensive part of the equipment if you get a good quality water softener. The higher the quality of the resin, the longer the life you're going to get. The next most important feature is the control valve. The less money you spend, the less features you have. The less, it's not going to last as long. So a Fleck, Autotro, you're going to find those things not lasting as long as you would with Clack. It's a little bit better, but it's not as good as you'd get with Eco Water, Kinetico, Culligan, Rainsoft. Those are professional grade. We have 4 of them. There's 4 professional grade manufacturers out there. There's there's Eco Water, Culligan, Rainsoft, and Kinetico. So those 4 professional grade manufacturers, they have a network of dealers who are independently owned that buy their products, right? And those dealers come together as a group and they demand a higher quality control valve. So as compared to the sticker companies, those 4 manufacturers are a little bit better. They do cost a little bit more. Now it's your job to be able to do the homework and find out which one is certified. The reason why Angel Water has chosen Eco Water is because it has an NSF 44 cert. So when we're taking out just the rock and we want something to last a long time, and we want to have that Wi-Fi technology that tells us if the toilet's leaking, and we want something that's going to actually do a great job in using the least amount of salt in the industry, the Eco Water product hits the top of the class. And so then it's up to you to be able to understand the value proposition that Eco Water offers you, because it is a high quality system, arguably probably the best on the market, and it has the Wi-Fi features, so you can look out for those leaky toilets that will ruin both the water softener and in many cases your septic field. Don't forget, these things go through a cleaning cycle and they drain to your septic tank. So now if it's in your septic tank, each county, by the way, Department of Health, some say septic, some say a drain tile outside your house. But if this is going to drain to that, now think about that for a second. This unit has exact salt dosing, so there's less salt that goes to the sump pump system. That then gets pumped outside into your septic tank. It's got what's called 0 chloride discharge. Wow, what a great feature, right? We have less salt going into the septic field. Yes, pro tip, a lot of septic companies tell you don't drain it into the septic tank. Yes, old school systems dumped a ton of salt in there, and that would ruin the septic tanks. However, with the advent of new technology and exact salt dosing, you can reduce that problem. It's no longer an issue. They have 0 chloride discharge going to the septic tank. So you can do that with an Eco Water product, whereas you would not want to do that with one of these. I'll just tell you our personal example. We used to sell a ton of auto trolls, but we became a plumbing company partially because our clients had a lot of plumbing issues. One of the biggest ones was sump pumps breaking all the time. Now, why did they break? They're made of metal. Excess salt going down the drain ate away at the impeller that's made of steel or iron, and then they had to replace it all the time. So when we moved to this product, problem solved. Again, just pro tip so you can make the decision what's best for you and your family. Short term, a little less expensive, maybe the sticker product or the big box product. But if you're looking for something that's going to last longer or create more value for your home, then the Eco Water ECR 3702, or sometimes the 3700, but 02 system is usually the best. 2 just refers to that it has 2 tanks, a water softener and then a salt tank next to it. Also, by the way, what's great about those is they tell you when you run out of salt. So that Wi-Fi feature says, hey, you need to add salt to that unit. Whereas with a lot of these guys, you got to keep going downstairs and checking the salt bin. Do you need to have it? Here's the dilemma. When you finally notice it, that you're out of salt in one of these older systems, you're like, you already have it, the rock, and you already have dishwasher problems, you have laundry problems, you have hair problems, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't even know this stuff was happening. You're also ruining your water heater. So that's why having an upgraded system does make sense. By the way, pro tip, if you are looking, a lot of clients will call me, oh, I live somewhere where Eco Water's not around. The next best professional grade, if you're looking at that, I found seems for even well water would be a 48,000 grain unit from Connecticut. Connecticut has a 2-tank system, but you got to make sure that it's not the small baby ones that you see here. They have 48,000 grain tanks that you want to make sure is filled with enough resin for the hard water. That's the big thing that you want to be able to make sure that you have is you get, this is a 32,000 grain, 48 would be about up to, a good 4.5 feet tall. So that said, that would be a second best choice if you don't have an Eco Water dealer near you. Culligan would come in third, along tied somewhat with Rainsoft as the next best product from my perspective on professional grade systems for your well water issue. So what we hope is that you've learned a lot about owning a house with hard water, and you're probably at a private well. There are some small communities that also have this kind of hard water, over 15 grains hard, so this could work for you as well. It's usually designed for water that does not have chlorine added to it. So most cities add chlorine to water. There are special systems that address water with chlorine or from city water. This is really designed for you well water people that are out there that have your own private well. What we've done is we hope that this has helped educate you enough on owning your private well with hard water. If you have any further questions, reach out to us at angelwater.com. You can call us at 847-382-7800. We have a location in West Palm Beach, Florida at 6917 West Vista Parkway North. Also, we have our facility in Lake Barrington at 28214 West Northwest Highway in Lake Barrington, Illinois. You can also call us at 847-382-7800. As you know, I'm Drew, and I'm here to serve you.